Okay, folks, my name's Chris Gutierrez with Code 3 Motors, longtime paramedic and power stroke mechanic. I've got a 2013 F450 with the 6.7 liter Power Stroke Super Duty. So if you're a truck guy, if you wear Wranglers, boot cut, you're probably pretty excited right now. But just relax. We're going to go, there's a lot of stuff to go over. We're going to do a walk around tour of this thing. We're going to go through all the exterior compartments, and then we're going to get in the patient compartment. We're going to go over everything back there. We're going to go in the cab. We're going to do a test drive. We're going to look at the undercarriage and the motor, the tires, all kinds of stuff. So you can see it's got chevrons on the back, the entire back. LED lights everywhere. It's got airbag suspension in the back. And the paint's in really great shape. The red is just a vinyl stripe. It's not paint. So it would be very easy to make this thing completely white if you wanted to. But these are pretty common colors, so we just left it as is. So there's that. Let's start going through the exterior compartments. And I'm just gonna do, I kind of already shot a video. So this compartment here is the O2 compartment. You'll see the Star of Life sticker is there. This is the up-down switch for the hydraulic O2 tank. It's pretty simple operation. There's a knob right there. You unlock it, and then it'll come out. And it's set up for an M tank. It is not adjustable, so you can go with a smaller tank. You just couldn't put a bigger tank like an H tank in there. And then the regulator is here. It's present. You'll notice that it has a high pressure line on it. That's because there's a gauge on the action wall inside, so you can see how much O2 you have left just from looking on the wall. You don't have to come out here and physically look at how much is left. And then once you secure the tank on, lift it back up there. You can save yourself a hernia by doing that. I never had one of these when I worked on a rig. I always had to pick them up myself and put them in there, but super awesome feature, very pricey feature. It's not something that you see on most ambulances, especially when you're talking about big fleets, because for the cost of 10 of those, you can have a whole nother ambulance. So there's that. You'll also notice that there is lighting in all of the compartments that we're going to look at. Next up is a huge compartment. You could put turnout gear in here if you're a fire department, restock supplies, extra equipment. You'll notice there's a rack for 3 oxygen D tanks. It's not tall enough to put an E tank, but you might be able to put one E on this side. But the other 2, it's not tall enough. You'd have to go with a D tank. And then there's a strap there to keep something secured, whatever you want to have there. And you'll notice there's like rope lighting that runs the length. And that's how most of these compartments are. This compartment here, pretty cool feature. The electronics are super easy and accessible to get to. And then you'll also notice all of these parts that are in here, all of these relays, solenoids, all of these fuses, all of this stuff is stuff that you can get at Napa, at O'Reilly, AutoZone, any, Pep Boys, any auto part place has this stuff or can order those parts. There's really no proprietary parts in here that you need to worry about, which are things like say for a Horton or a Road Rescue or a Braun. Some of those coach builders have really elaborate electronics where you have to order the parts through them. It takes a long time. It means your rig's out of service for a long time. So this is a lot better just to have very simple electronics, and you can get the thing back in service in 5 minutes, if you have the relay in stock. And then that's the suction motor for the suction unit that's right there. You'll notice it's got the DEF fluid. That's where that goes in there. Diesel fluid's there. And it burns very clean between the EGR cooler and the diesel particulate filter and the DEF fluid filter. The motor's running right now, and it's not fuming in here. It doesn't feel like, your typical diesel fumes. This compartment, kind of a combination compartment. It's got backboards, lots of room for backboards. You could put folding flats in there, or you wouldn't even have to fold them. They're tall enough to put them standing up straight, and then you could do seat collars, headbeds, extra restock equipment. I mean, pretty big compartment. So there's that, and you can see it's lit. Again, there's more rope lighting in there. There's that compartment. The back doors are open here, so you're going to get to see the back. Now, super nice. I mean, this looks like it's super clean. It's like an operating room back here, and not all of the lights on. There's fluorescent lights down the center that are not lit up, but you'll notice that the floor is in fantastic shape. It's my favorite kind of floor too. It's like the simulated diamond plate, but it's the black rubber. So really nice. The upholstery's in great shape. We're gonna get back there in a minute. Let's finish looking at these compartments. This compartment here, this is again, whatever you want it to be, restock supply, turnout gear. You will notice it's got a bar going across there, so you can hang up jackets, extra shirts, windbreakers. I mean, if you're gonna be out running calls for a long time, you might have different shirts, different options to choose from. It's also accessible from the inside. There's a compartment door from the inside where you can access this top shelf area. There's that. Down here, here's another area that's accessible from inside. If you lift up the bench seat, and we'll do it when we get in there, you have access to this top shelf area from inside. You can't get to the bottom, but and that shelf can be removed. So if there's something larger that you want to put there, you can take that shelf out and put that in there. And then the side door, since we've already kind of looked at the back, there's 3 steps, and then there's a pull-out step. It's manual. So if you want to pull, if you're walking someone to the patient instead of putting them on the gurney, you can just pull that out. There's a lot of them that are electronic, like as soon as you open the door, they come out. Those always stop working about 3 months after you get the thing. That bottom step stops working. So I'm kind of glad that this one is a manual. Okay, our last compartment is right here. You'll notice there is a very large space for your jump bag, your portable oxygen, portable suction, your monitor, all the stuff you're going to take into your rescue would be here. It's accessible from inside. You'll also notice there is a door right there. That's because you've got 2 compressors right here. This has a rear airbag suspension. So one of these compressors is for the rear airbags. The other compressor is for the air horns, and we'll go over that when we get in the cab. But you can turn those off manually from there if you wanted to. I don't know why you would want to, but it has that option available. And then there's one more spot up there with the plug. So if you want to keep your monitor charged or whatnot, you can do that. Okay, so let's get in the back. I'm going to take my shoes off. It's so clean back there that I don't want to ruin the clean floor with my dirty shoes. All right, so you'll notice upholstery in great shape. Now, the biggest feature of this box is the headroom. I'm 6'1". Normally, in some tall ambulances, I can stand up straight, but I got to swing my head around these grab rails. In this rig, I can walk underneath the grab rails, and there's about 2.5 inches from my head to the bar. So even if I was wearing work boots, I'd still be able to walk around back here. So the headroom to the actual ceiling is about 6'5". That's about the tallest I've seen for an ambulance, and it's pretty typical of this coach builder, which is tailor-made. So It does have a CPR seat. There's nothing on this side because that's all exterior compartment. You'll notice that there is a space above the doors to put extra gloves or whatever you want to put there. And then the back of the CPR seat comes down. If you want more counter space, you can do that. Whoa. And then you would have even more counter space, but I'd rather just have a full-time seat, and that makes more sense. And then there's a space above, and then you'll notice it has the little shocks. That's because you can lift this up to put, for if you're doing restock, or if there's something too large to fit out of that space, you can just lift it up, pull it out. They all have that feature for you to just lift up and restock or whatever. And you'll notice it is impeccable in there, super clean. Usually it's really marred up. There's tape. Guys will make makeshift dividers with headbeds and cardboard and medical tape. Usually the compartments are wiped out. This rig is in phenomenal shape back here. It's a phenomenal shape all around, and you'll see as we continue to go along. So there's that. Here's the action wall. You'll notice there's a place to secure your monitor. There's belts that are tethered to the counter, so you can strap your monitor down. You can keep it charged up. Your suction canisters over there. Let me get these center fluorescents going, and you can see. And they're LED. They're actually not fluorescent bulbs. They're LED. And I know sometimes my shutter speed, I think, is set at 24 frames per second. Sometimes you can't see. I can kind of see them fluttering a little bit when I look through the screen, but they don't do that when you look at it with your eye. Same thing with the strobe light. Sometimes my shutter speed isn't fast enough to keep up with the emergency lights. So there's our regular dome lights, and those are LED as well. And then we got our suction. So we have an integrated suction regulator here. If you look at the gauge, I'll put my finger over the hole, and that's right where you want it to be. If you want to adjust it, you can just dial in with that knob. There's 2 ports for suction. I may have some airflow meters to put in there. I'll double check. And then there's the gauge. So if we had a tank connected, you could see right from here how much is left in the house tank. And then on that side we have another O2 port in case you got a patient on the bench seat. Then we've got our exhaust vent, which sucks from right there. If there are odors back here that you don't want, you can get them out. You also notice above the side door is a glove butler that's integrated in there, so you can do 1, 2, 3, 4 plus an extra pair of gloves up there. That's pretty cool. There's also a net here to catch you from flying into the cabinets if you get in an accident or your partner suddenly slams the brakes on. And then we got action light here. So if you're working on your patient care report and you want to turn the overhead ceiling lights down for your patient, you can do that. And then there's like a buzzer that you can buzz the driver, be like, hey, kick it up. And then MedTech and TaylorMade, they do the same thing. If you look in that center console, let me zoom in, you can see those buttons, watch, and all. So if you want to let him know, hey, the patient's taking a turn for the worse, step it up, and he can do the little buzzer that he can hear up there. I think it's easier just to shout through the thing like, hey, the patient's in full arrest, kick it up, code 3 or whatever. And then here's the jump seat. It's very, it's nice. There is a crack in the upholstery right there, and there's one on the side. That's the only flaw with the upholstery. You'll notice that everything else is in really nice shape. Let me got a sharps container on the wall over there. This is the reach through that I was talking about that goes to that compartment. So you can get in there from here. Oh yeah, and then underneath the bench seat, that is from the outside compartment right there. And then if you go to this side, if I can find it, you've got big space for traction splint, pillows, blankets, stuff like that. And then that's your reach through that from that other outside compartment. There is reach through here for the oxygen tank. You can open that up to turn the house tank on and off if you want to do that. I usually just leave my tanks flowing unless there's a known problem. We did connect O2 tank to this. The system does work the way it should. It does hold. It doesn't appear to have any leaks. There's another sharps container up there. Now you'll notice behind the jump seat, very large, there's a whole nother counter back here. There's a drawer there, and down here is where the radio brain were located. So the radio brains are down there. There's antenna connections. There's still antennas on the roof, and there's antennas still connected. And then there's a Streamlight battery charger on the wall. Another charger in the corner. There's one in the front in the cab also. Okay, so we've got our, you can probably hear it, we got our HVAC unit working. The thermostat's controlled here, so you got cool on this side, and then you ratchet it over for heat in the other direction, and then the speed selector is there. You can probably hear that. That's off, low, medium, and high. So there's that, and then there's a volume control because there are speakers back here. Oh yeah, and then also check this out. There's also vents in the ceiling for extra blowing. You'll notice there's speakers in the ceiling. I don't have the radio on, but if the radio were on, you can control, if you wanted music back here, you can turn it up or turn it off completely or low or whatever you want. Oh yeah, there's a couple other compartments over here. There's that one up above, very large, and then there's this one here that's accessible from the side compartment. Great spot for your portable suction and a portable monitor to go there. And then here is your, it's a pretty beefy lock and a very thick door with extra beefy hinges on it. This is the lockable narcotics locker, and there's where you would lock up your narcs, right in that spot there. And it has a vent, so it's vented also in case it gets too hot. You don't want to spoil some of your meds. There's that. You can open this up to change the filter for the HVAC unit, and I think that's pretty much everything. There's IV hooks back here. I think that's pretty much everything. And there's a timer, so you can put the lights on a timer if you're pulling up to the hospital, getting ready to shut everything down. And what is this one? Oh, that's the air ride. So you can drop the airbag suspension by flipping that switch. The deck is high enough how it is for the Striker to reach. Sometimes the deck will get too high, and you'll have to drop the deck in order to properly load the gurney. If you need to do that, you can hit that switch right there. Or if you just want to put the bumper lower, if you're walking somebody in, you don't want to use that side step, you can just drop the back of this down and it'll be easier to grab onto these rails and climb your way in. All right, here is the gurney that in the ambulance. If you don't need a gurney, it's just a manual MX Pro. Um, if you don't need the gurney, we can shave off a little bit off the price and remove the gurney and just do the ambulance. But if you need the gurney, it has one. So there's that. I just wanted to show you that. And I don't know what year it is. I mean, I can kind of tell from the handles, it's probably 2007-ish. It's a 600-pound model. It's not a 650. It does have an IV pole. It does have a grab handle. It does have a glove butler on the back. It does not have an O2 bottle holder, but it's got that rack with the gloves are that you could lay an O2 tank back there, which is better than, I can't stand when they mount it on the front because the cord doesn't reach a patient's face if they're laying supine. If they're Fowlers, you can do it. But so there's that.